must lose. The tank is on. We want Toronto. I don't know how you classify this game, what you classify this game. I don't even know what you think about this game, in one that, like, 2 weeks ago we thought was going to be really important for the battle of first place in the Atlantic Division, and now here we are heading into Game 77 for the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Florida Panthers. We're looking at almost like you win, you play Florida in the first round, you lose, maybe you help Florida but don't help them because it's not what they want, so then you avoid Florida. I don't know. We'll break it all down. We'll talk about today's game, what it could potentially mean for the standings. We'll get into our best bet all a presentation of Bet365 in today's pregame video. I'm Zack Phillips. Let's get into it right now, right away here. Let's head on over to the ESPN website and let's talk about what it is that I'm talking about and give you guys a little bit of a clearer picture of what today's game means and why it means what I've kind of laid out and why everything is suddenly so confusing for the Toronto Maple Leafs and those following the NHL standings here. So over to the ESPN website where we can take a look here at the standings right now. What you'll see is the Toronto Maple Leafs have played 76 games. The Lightning, the Panthers, and the Ottawa Senators have all played 77. Now, that's kind of the first part of this, and then we go into the points and who has what games remaining. So, the Florida Panthers, they have not been playing very well lately. They have been healthy scratching guys and getting everyone ready for playoffs, and Matthew Tkachuk is on LTIR, and Barkov hasn't played, and they're putting Vanacek in games you otherwise wouldn't normally put Vitek Vanacek in, and setting out Bobrovsky, and all of a sudden they're dropping and dropping and dropping, and they're moving further and further away from the Toronto Maple Leafs for first in the Atlantic Division. So the Leafs open up their gap. You feel good. You're like, wow, there you go. First in the Atlantic. It's ours. We're going to take it. Okay, well, the Tampa Bay Lightning might have something to say with that as they currently sit 2 points back of you. The Maple Leafs at 98. The Tampa Bay Lightning at 96 there now. Obviously, you have a game in hand, so a win tonight here helps open that up. And then you play the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow night on the second night of a back-to-back, so it kind of helps determine a little bit more about the playoff standings and shaping and all that kind of stuff. It's a very important couple of games here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The Florida Panthers are 6 points back of you, the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're 4 points back of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, I mean, based on the way Tampa's playing, Toronto's playing, and Florida's playing, I mean, throw that in there as well. You could pretty much say, okay, Florida is probably not catching either of those teams. It's possible, obviously, but unlikely, I think we would all assume. Well, this is where it gets interesting. The Ottawa Senators, with the same games played as the Florida Panthers, are only 2 points back of the Florida Panthers. This is where the tinfoil hats come out and the conspiracy theories start, and we all start to talk about and question and wonder, are the Florida Panthers tanking to A, avoid Tampa, B, take on the Toronto Maple Leafs in round one, or C, all of the above, or D, none of the above, and they are just in a bit of a slump? This is where people start asking questions, making assumptions, and kind of pointing fingers at the Florida Panthers, and also looking internally a little bit at Toronto Maple Leafs and saying, they want you. They want to play you. So why this game is important is because it opens up a little bit of a gap and moves people around a little bit. If the Toronto Maple Leafs win here tonight, you open up a little bit more room on Tampa. You open up a lot more room on Florida. But you also leave the door open a little bit for the Ottawa Senators. And then potentially by the end of the night here, the Ottawa Senators could tie the Florida Panthers. And then you're not necessarily facing Ottawa in the first round anymore, and Florida could find themselves sliding into a spot where now they're in the wild card, and Ottawa is sitting third, and Ottawa will play the Tampa Bay Lightning in round one. This is the first year in a very long time heading into the playoffs in the final couple weeks of the season where games actually mean a lot. Not necessarily about who makes it and who doesn't, because you look at Ottawa and Montreal, they've pretty much locked up their spots. I mean, the Detroit Red Wings are 6 points back. They play the Montreal Canadiens. And if Detroit wins, then yeah, sure, it becomes a little bit more uncomfortable for the Canadiens. It's a 4-point game. It takes away 2 from the Habs. It makes Detroit 4 back, and anything could happen. The Montreal Canadiens could punt this thing away. But right now, they're sitting relatively comfortable, and they're just trying to rack up points and get closer and closer to clinching that playoff spot. It's on the other side. Who plays who? Who slots into what spot? And it's all about the Atlantic Division right now. It's exciting. It's fun. But I wanted to lay out and spend the first couple of minutes of the game preview all the kind of moving parts and about who is sitting where and why these conversations are going on about tanking for the Maple Leafs right now at this point in the season. So that's kind of what you've got for the standings. Thank you to ESPN for those standings that we just pulled up here on screen. Appreciate that. Break everything down there and taking a look at what we've got for potential outcomes and matchups and how pieces could move around here. Following tonight's games, especially when you're going to take a look and see who plays who tonight, things could start opening up. Ottawa and Columbus play. Ottawa should probably win that game. That would be 2 points for them. The Leafs and Florida play. The Leafs could take away 2 points from Florida. Weird situation all around. But let's get into what we've got for tonight's lineups for the Toronto Maple Leafs and see what it is that they're bringing to the table with some of the news on the other side. Just quickly running down that. You're going to get no Sam Bennett. He's shut down for the rest of the season. Throw that into the tankathon bucket there, if you will. Barkov trending towards playing. Forsling trending towards playing. Reinhart trending towards playing. I mean, at the end of the day, we could hear that these guys are playing and then they don't. We could hear that guys aren't playing and then they do. I don't imagine Sam Bennett would be one of those guys, but, looking around at some of the other guys and picking off who's being, day-to-day or dealing with something. At any given moment, the Florida Panthers here could just say, shut it down, sit down, you're not playing tonight, and those pieces could change. But expecting Bob, it looks like he was the first guy off the ice. He's confirmed for tonight. Something crazy would pretty much have to happen, in my opinion, for it to be not Bob and for it to be Vanacek. Right now, that's what we're looking at for tonight's lineup for the Panthers and who's in and who's out. Maple Leafs, though. Let's go over to Daily Faceoff and see what we've got for tonight's lineup, and we'll start there with the first line. No changes. Nyes, Matthews, Marner. Matthews has been heating up, not just point production-wise, but how he has been playing. He looks a little bit more physically dominant. He looks a little bit more like the Austin Matthews we've all known. The guy who scored 69 goals last season. He's moving back in that direction, which feels like the exact right time for him to be doing it and looking healthier and looking more physically dominant and looking more comfortable. He's going to go right into game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. If he can keep this up for the remaining games, kind of heading uphill here, kind of heading in the right direction where it's like, okay, you've built some momentum, you built some steam, you're getting some confidence back. Let's rock come game 1. He stays in the middle between Marner and Matthew Nyes. Matthew Nyes, I thought, was the best player on the ice the other night against Columbus. I noticed him every single time he was out there. Felt like he was making things happen. He was causing chaos. He was a physical presence. He was pissing people off. Like, he was executing his job to perfection. And then Mitch there, I mean, look, the guy's been dancing around for the last couple of games chasing 100. So I imagine it's on Mitch's mind, wants to do it for the first time in his career. Second line. The line that I thought was kind of temporary only just because of Bobby McMahon. I thought Pacioretty would come back and take that spot. Bobby McMahon, I think, is locking it down. I cannot see a scenario here where Pacioretty jumps back in and takes that spot from McMahon, just given the play of Bobby and trying to throw Max Pacioretty onto a moving train. Nylander is buzzing. Tavares is buzzing. And Bobby McMahon is a big piece in all of that. So I would not be changing those guys. I would not be moving those pieces around. Keep things as they are. Down to your third line, Scott Laughton, Max Domi, Calle Jarnkrok. I mean, we're seeing a little bit of comfortability building between these three guys. You're seeing them get a little bit more used to each other. It seems like they're enjoying playing together. They're building off of each other. Max has by far been the best player on this line in the last couple of games. The only real ask when it comes to Domi is like, hey, let's make sure we don't cross the line too much and cost the team and go to the box. But otherwise, The guy's been very good. You can start to see some chemistry being built there. I don't know how things go here between Calle Yarncroke, Pontus Holmberg, Nick Robertson, and David Kampf come playoffs. Feels like Pacioretty coming back will push for a spot, and then you're going to have a rotation of guys who are kind of creating their own internal competition, which I kind of like, but it does leave a little bit up to Berube and the coaching staff to determine any given night who's going, who's not, who fits with who, how do we move these pieces around, which could be an issue. You want a guy to jump through and really grab a hold of a spot, but right now, there is some competition. Down to your fourth line where we talk about the competition, Steven Lorenz, I don't see it being competition for him. He's looked very good. Fights the other night against Sean Corrali, against the Columbus Blue Jackets. I feel like Steven Lorenz has been one of those guys you've just looked at as a pillar of consistency. He's basically like the only PTO player that I feel in recent memory has worked out for the Maple Leafs. I mean, you look down at these guys and kind of sit around and slot guys into spots like Zach Aston Reese, Par Lindholm, pieces like that have kind of come and gone and just been like, okay, you're fine. I'm not mad that you're here, but like, what do you do for me? Steven Lorenz, definitively does stuff. He is a big presence. He's hard on the forecheck. He's defensively responsible, and he pitches in a big goal here and there. Sitting next to Holmberg and sitting next to Robertson right now. I mean, Nick Robertson, who knows? Maybe he keeps it going here tonight. He has that pattern. Sit, score. He scores 2 against Columbus. Maybe he keeps it going here tonight alongside Holmberg and Lorenz. Those are your forward lines. Defensively, we're not changing anything up from Saturday night. Obviously, for people who are wondering what's going on with lineups and those kinds of things and when people are coming back, just a quick update. We have found out here now and got some confirmation that Jake McCabe and David Kampf will not play on this road trip against Florida or Tampa. So if you're expecting to see either of them, stop. They're not going to be playing. But what you do have right now is a combination of Morgan Riley and Brandon Carlo, Ekman Larsson and Chris Tanev, who looked very good the other night. OEL looked very good on his strong side, which maybe makes the coaching staff have some second thoughts when it comes to, does OEL play on the right side with Benoit, or does he play on the left side and put Myers in? Because Philippe Myers and Simone Benoit, I thought, looked pretty decent there against Columbus as well. But those are your 6 defense. Nothing changes from Saturday, and I don't think anything should have changed from Saturday. I thought the defense looked good. I thought the team looked really good. Why mix things up? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Power play units, nothing changes again. 5 forward unit on the first unit there. Nyes, Tavares, Nylander, Marner, Matthews. And then your second unit, McMahon, Domi, Robertson, OEL, and Morgan Riley. So those are your power play lines for tonight. Those are your forward and defensive units for tonight. And then your goaltender, as we had all this debate, who plays in which game? Do you keep Stoli in here after the weekend that he had? And do you play him against Florida? Do you play him against Tampa? How do you fix this? And how do you set this all up? Joseph Woll confirmed to play tonight against Florida Panthers, which would mean Anthony Stolarz plays tomorrow night against Tampa. Don't really know what the decision is behind that or why they've kind of chosen to go with this path, but that's what it is, and I don't really care. Is there much of a difference between one or the other? Personally, I don't think so. I feel like they're just trying to get a test here. Maybe you play Florida now. How does Joseph Woll match up against them? How does Florida find their way around the net and kind of attack Joseph Woll? Maybe you learn some stuff in these games. It's an opportunity to find out what you've got and a potential playoff matchup here. And then on the other side, you get Stolarz against Tampa, another potential playoff matchup. Probably not in the immediate, given where the two teams are sitting right now, in first and second, but potentially in the second round. So those are your lines for tonight. Let's go quickly now to our best bet segments. Breaking news coming in from Bet365. Where every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner. Every face-off, hat trick, power play, shot on goal, penalty shot, and every suspenseful minute in between is amazing. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Download the Bet365 app and use the code NATION, NATION, to get in on the game. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. So, Best bets over the last little while have been going pretty well. We have won 4 of our last 6. Our record on the season is 29-52, but we are up $784 in profit. That would be 7.84 units for us this season. So it's been a good year. It's been a good year profit-wise, money-wise. Record, not so much. We're losing more than we're winning, but money-wise, we're winning more than we are losing. So let's now get to tonight's best bet. Coming off the loss the other day where we had Mitch Marner anytime goal against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Honestly, I just thought Mitch was going to stay hot. I thought he was going to be able to do it. Plus 230, good number. Doesn't work. But we push forward and we bounce back here tonight and hopefully get ourselves another win. Going over to the Bet365 page, we're going to scroll down in the NHL section where we find the Toronto Maple Leafs Florida Panthers game about midway down. We go over to the player props section for tonight's game, and then we're going to find ourselves in the shots on goal section. Now, the shots on goal have been weird for us this year. I will tell you that straight up. We are about just below 500 on what we're hitting on those on the record. We lost more early on. I think pretty much every one I did for the first couple lost. Recently, we've started to heat up and start to hit a little bit more. It's just exercising some caution unit-wise, what we're trying to hit on these. But tonight, we're going to go with the Johnny T over 2.5 shots on goal. That would also be a 3+ for people looking anywhere on this. Plus 135 for John Tavares. 3+ shots on goal. Over 2.5 shots on goal for him tonight. Look, I feel like he's just been very involved in the offense, whether it's on the power play, if it's his line just taking over at times. I don't foresee him or Nylander or McMahon, for that matter, slowing down going into the playoffs. I think we saw it last year where it kind of hit a stalemate and then you jumped into the playoffs and tried to ramp back up, and it just didn't quite work as well. Nylander ended up being injured and out, and you don't want that. You want to be going up into the playoffs. You don't want to kind of plateau and then try to pick things back up. You want to build into the playoffs. So JT's recent play has been pretty dialed in. I think he keeps it going here tonight against Florida. Over 2.5 shots on goal, plus 135. Half unit, $50 on this one. Profits you 67.5. That's all for us for the pregame video. If you enjoyed this, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe here to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything happening right here. Leafs Nation 401 right here on YouTube. Thank you all for watching, commenting, liking, subscribing. I want to see what your thoughts are on tonight's game, your predictions. Is Florida tanking? I want to hear it all. Drop them down in the comments below. Nick Alberga joins me right back here following tonight's game for another edition of Leafs Nation After Dark. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking, all the support. We'll see you guys tonight. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.